Hey you guys, I am Sharzad Morgan. I was married 25 years. I'm a mother of three and a grandmother. And I am a woman who has always enjoyed sex, within guardrails, of course. And so I would like to speak to you about what happens to women after they give birth and why many women lose their desire for sex. All. So I'm going to explain it to you. Number one is that having a baby is like, okay, you're just this couple, everything is like you and her, and everything's quiet, and this and that, and you have your freedom, you can go places, and all of a sudden someone brings over a puppy or two puppies. These puppies are not puppy trained. They bite on everything, they want to play all the time, they wake up during the night, and if they were taken away from their mother early, they need constant feeding. They need constant feeding, they need training, and they're constantly jumping on the bed. You and your husband are trying to have sex, and they're jumping on the bed like they're a big distraction. They're very needy. So that's the best way I can explain to you the needs of a baby. From an outsider's perspective, they're distracting and they're needy and they're constantly crying, or they want to eat, or they need their diaper changed, because humans are born not able to fend for themselves for probably at least 10 or 12 years, if you want to be rude, but probably 20 years, unlike other animals that are born basically knowing how to swim off or stand up, and get their own food in short order. We humans are born very helpless, and there's a lot of chaos. So that distraction takes the couple away from their focus on each other, because now they have to deal with this. It would be the same as any other kind of distraction you have in your relationship, like a move, someone losing their job, someone having an illness, or your parents coming to visit, okay? But I think the puppy analogy is better, because puppies are cute and you can get that they're playful, they're not trying to be bad, but wow, they're taking attention away from that you had together as a couple, and now you have to tend to the puppies. But I also want to talk about evolutionary psychology and how we evolve, because see, not having sex is built in birth control. It's really not in a woman's or couple's best interest to have a baby every 9 months. And by breastfeeding, I breastfed all my babies. By breastfeeding actually delays ovulation. So we are programmed that after we have children, we have certain mechanisms that delay ovulation. Breastfeeding delays ovulation. Breastfeeding also distracts from the husband, because now I've got a baby at my breast all day, I'm holding a baby all day, and when I finally put my baby to bed, the last thing I want is someone else touching me, someone else needing me. I just want to be left alone. And I think that's really healthy, because it's kind of a built-in birth control. But that should only last for maybe 6 to 9 months or a year. If the lack of interest in sex continues longer than that, there's a problem. But I'm going to get into that in a moment. The first 6 to 12 months that a baby is there, you as the man have to just subdue your sex drive, okay? And focus on being a dad and supporting the mom. Just jerk off, okay? Just jerk off a lot. My ex-husband and I actually did have sex before the 6-week checkup, because I like sex, but some women might not. Some women have had a very traumatic birth experience. Some women die in childbirth. Did you know that? Some women have an episiotomy, a tear in their perineum. Some women had a C-section, so it takes months for that to heal. Like, they're in pain. Their breasts are full, if they're not nursing every 2 hours, the breast is leaking out. Like, there's all this physical stuff happening. And also, I believe in the family bed. It's the best for the baby. Babies, You don't want to sleep alone from your spouse. Putting a baby in a separate room to me is cruel. This is my opinion. You can disagree. Babies want to be held. They want to be close to their parents, and they feel safe being close to their parents. If you don't want the baby in your bed, put a bassinet next to your bed. But the point is, the baby's constantly there. The baby needs to nurse. The baby regulates its emotional system and learns how to feel safe in the world by being around safe, present, caring caretakers. That's what humans need. And for the first year, babies need a lot. And the more they are held in a sling, sleeping with you, you're present with them as much as you can, it benefits the baby. So the focus has to be on the baby. And naturally, the mom, as having had the baby and nursing, she naturally feels this instinct to protect her baby like a mama bear. And even dads, like a papa bear. A lot of dads clean up their act in life when they become a father. They start taking life more seriously. I've got to work, I've got to provide, I have to clean up my act. Same with moms. And baby wakes up at 5 a.m. You can't stay up late every night drinking. You've got to get up early. You've got to get up during the night. You're sleep deprived. And so you're sleep deprived. You're constantly hungry and thirsty, and the baby's nursing, and all this energy is going to the baby, and that's what needs to happen. A mom will also hear her baby at many decibels louder than anyone else. Like, we are built to put our babies first because they need that. If we don't do that, they're going to die or they're going to have a bad outcome. So I'm going to say that it's very natural for a mom and a dad to put the baby above the intimate couple time temporarily. Okay, I want to say temporarily. And to the extent that you have family that can take care of the baby, you can have a couple's date night or an overnight. But I want to tell you that I, as being very interested in having time with my husband at the time, when my firstborn was, I think, 3 months old or 6 months old, I started planning overnights with my husband at the time. But the problem was I was nursing every 2 hours. So in the middle of the night, I kept having to get up to pump my breasts. And then I kept having to pump my breast, and then I was missing my baby. And so it wasn't like this really great couple time indeed. But by the 1 year mark, the nursing has pretty much settled in or has finished. And what I really want to say is that couples need to make alone time, okay? Not in the first few months, but certainly by 2 years. And even before that, you've got to have time as a couple every week, whether it's on the weekend when baby is sleeping, at night. Usually mom wants to go to bed when the baby goes to bed. It's like so exhausting. But if you value your relationship, you also have to nurture your relationship. And it's easier if you have like a grandma that can watch baby while you go out or have an overnight. I always tell my male clients that have young children or children, the wife no longer wants sex, is take her away for the weekend. And they always tell me, yeah, that really works. I'm like, yeah, do it more. You've got to get mom away from the kids. And you've got to get mom out of her domestication duties. Because as women, we're like, okay, like today, I actually took down all my vertical blinds and washed them, and they look great. But we see things like this needs cleaning, and I got to do this, and the kids need me. And I'll tell you, a man can have sex while the kids are in the next room, but as a mom, I could never. Okay, as a mom, I could never, because I know my kids are there. I can't relax enough to fuck you when the kids could walk in or cry for me or come in the room, and I'm not going to lock my door when my 2-year-old might need me. So this is why you have to carve out time for you as a couple and get mom away from the children, because it's really hard. It's just in our evolution to care for our children. We're supposed to. A mom that doesn't care about her children is a mom that runs off with other men. That does happen. A mom that's on drugs. Like there's something wrong with a mom that cannot care about her children. So you have to, as a couple, carve out time for each other and make sex dates. Okay? Very important. I think that also what's important for men is to realize that, to understand this about the baby and the mom's need to nurture the baby, and to keep letting the woman know that she's attractive, you know, that you love, she's so beautiful when she's breastfeeding, or, you know, you appreciate how great she is as a mother. You've got to keep making her feel appreciated. And also you've got to let her know that you're still a man with desires, because you can't let her get lazy. You've got to keep her in the back of her mind. Every woman has to think, other women might want him. If I don't fuck him, other women might fuck him. If I don't fuck him, he might go elsewhere. She's got to have that in her mind. She's got to keep her on her toes. Same way we have to keep our men on their toes. Like, you got to make sure we like the sex and all this. I think it's good for couples to not take each other for granted or to get lazy. And I think a lot of men make the mistake of saying, like, well, I only want you, baby. That's such a much bullshit. You've got to keep a woman on her toes by letting her know, hey, not in a whiny way, like, why can't we have sex? But I don't really know how men do it. I don't know how to talk like a man. They have ways of saying it. But a woman has to know that you're a sexual being, that you still think about sex. Even, you know, when you go out checking out another woman, not like obviously staring like that, but, you know, make sure she sees that. Or, you know, we got some hot ladies at the office, you know, just keep her on her toes a little bit. It's really good, because you've got to be authentic that you as a man like sex and want sex. But you also have to honor that there's a child that has needs, and that child must be taken care of. And a good mom will not leave her kids at home alone or with some random person. She's going to want to make sure that child is well taken care of. And, you know, it's really great for kids to learn to trust other adults, like aunts, uncles, people that are safe, really good friends that you trust, grandparents. It just rounds out their world. You know, some of my best memories as a kid actually were with my grandparents. You know, my best childhood memories are with my grandparents, because they were relaxed and it was only me and I had all their attention. They were so cool. And I think that I also know when I was married, I often tried to make date nights with my husband and weekends away. The problem was he would like not want to spend the money, or he wouldn't want to go. But whenever we went, we always had a good time. And when you get the woman, every man I've ever talked to says, when I get my wife out of the house, away from the kids for an overnight, we feel closer and we have a lot of sex. As the kids get older, you know, it's hard, because there's a woman I watched on YouTube. She's kind of like a conservative woman who's all about family values and all that. And she was talking about how she and her husband could not have sex because their teenage boys were constantly in the house and could hear them. So your children are going to be a cock blocker all the way along, because who wants to have sex when your teenagers are running around the house and can hear you? Like, it's awkward. And I remember, I think it was Susan Rifker or something like that. And she said, next year the boys are going to be at college, and then my husband and I can have all the sex we want. So just realize that having kids in your house can be a cock blocker, unless you have a big house and you and your partner can be in a different area of the house. It's really important. Okay, caretaking and nurturing and sexual attraction are opposite. This is why I often talk about how when men act like victims, or they act helpless, or they act needy, or they share too much of their emotions, it's a turnoff, because Now I feel responsible for you. I'm in caretaker mode. I'm in nourishing mode, the same as I am with my children or my animals or my home. And that is not sexual attraction. Sexual attraction comes from you're this independent being and there's a bridge between us to cross, like Esther Perel talks about a bridge to cross. I can't cross a bridge if I'm busy caretaking my baby, or if you're a helpless person that's like telling me all of his emotions, and now I got to caretake you and mother you, and I can't feel any sexual attraction. That's why it's not that women are cruel. I mean, we can't care about your feelings, but it turns us off because we want to show that emotional support to our girlfriends or to our children. We don't want to show it to the person that we want to fuck. Okay, so you kind of ruin it. It's kind of like there's a woman you want to fuck and she farts while she's sitting on your face, or you watch she poops in front of you. That's a turn off. I know a lesbian couple where the one woman was like, my girlfriend is not allowed to poop in front of me or pee in front of me because I want to maintain the mystique of the hotness. And I totally get that. So where was I going with this? So when mom is in caretaker mode, nourishing mode, she's thinking about, okay, the kids need this. Do they have their lunches, soccer practice, soccer league, homework, or a little baby, our groceries, vacuuming, lunches for tomorrow. She's not going to be in a sexual mood. So you got to get her out of that domestication and take her someplace fun. Take her away out of the house. Take her out of the house. Preferably, if you can afford it, to like a nice resort or a hotel. That's what you do. And then as the kids get older, you carve out date nights. Hopefully the kids go to bed and you have some alone time. But again, it's tougher with kids. At some point, the kids, when they come into your room at night, they want to cuddle with you. They wake up, they have a bad dream, they want to come in your room. And I never deprive my kids of that. But eventually they get to a point, or you can even tell your kids. I remember years ago, I had a neighbor. She and her husband, they had 3 kids. She was a doctor, and he was like a successful technology consultant, salesperson, and they made time for each other. And she was not hot. She was like really chubby, but he was so in love with her. I was amazing. And one afternoon at 2:00 on a weekend, the kids came over and said, Mom and Dad are taking a nap. So they said we had to come over here. And I'm like, yeah, they're fucking. So that's what you have to do. You have to carve out time and make time for yourselves. Send the kids to a play date for a couple hours. And I think it's really important for kids to know that they're not the center of the universe. Okay, they're part of the family, and that there's a relationship. Mom has a relationship with each of the kids. Dad has a relationship with each of the kids. And mom and dad have a relationship with each other. And this relationship is something the kids are not a part of. It's modeling to the kids healthy relationships, boundaries, and the importance of a couple connecting, because the strength of the couple is so important to the kids feeling secure and feeling loved. And it teaches them about how to be a couple. Like, it's so important. Mom and dad definitely need to have date nights together. It's so good for the kids. And they love seeing mom and dad enjoy each other. It makes them feel secure. And it makes them curious. Like, what is this relationship thing? I want that. And it teaches them how to be in relationship. How mom treats dad and how dad treats mom teaches kids how they will be when they grow up in relationship and what they will expect. When a woman loses interest in sex, it's because she has not tuned into her, she has not nurtured her sexuality enough. She has put her domesticated duties above her sexuality, and she may just need a reminder. But maybe the guy's bad in bed. Maybe she's just bored with him, I would read The Dead Bedroom Fix. If I were a guy, if I were married to a woman and she had a little baby, I would start planning date nights. And if she had no interest in me, I would start going to the gym, dressing better, going out more, and making sure that other women were attracted to me, because when your woman sees that other women are attracted to you, she's going to feel more attracted to you. So you got to spark her sexual desire. Get her out of the house. Make sure other women are attracted to you. Make sure she sees you attracted to other women to spark her desire. And you can definitely have kids and still have a healthy sexual relationship. The problem too with a lot of women is they have a responsive desire, and the longer they go without sex, the more they don't care if they have it at all. So that's where you as the man, if you want it, you got to stoke the fire. Give her a massage, take her out of the house, and remind her what it was like, you know, what it's like when it's just the two of you. Give her some really hot sex. Women love hot sex. You know, surprise her, do something really hot. You know, don't be boring. And just remember that any reduction in sex life is always temporary. It will come back if you nurture it, and relationships need nurturing and couples need couple time. So important. You cannot put your couple time aside and make your whole life about the kids, because that's going to make kids grow up really fucking entitled and bratty. You know, they sometimes they have to know, you know what, we're not going to buy that for you this month. We're not going to get you that toy, that extra toy or that extra outfit or whatever, because mom and dad need a date night. Like, you are equally important in that relationship. It's not just the kids first. Too many couples put their kids first. My kid have to drive my kid here, and I have to go to this state for the soccer league and the cheerleading league and the baseball league, and we're playing tournaments and we're going to Europe. And so many parents do that, and they neglect their own relationship. Why? Your kid is never going to be a star anyway. It's like totally misplaced money and attention. You know, when you could all be home playing a board game or playing pickleball or soccer at the park or something. So that's what I think. I myself did not lose my sex drive because I had kids. I lost my sex drive because I was married to a guy who sucked in bed. And by the way, to the guy who said, don't talk so badly about your ex-husband, any guy who's good in bed is going to think, oh yeah, I'm not like him. But any guy who's insecure about being good in bed is going to not like that because he feels personally attacked. Like, why do you care what I talk about? I get to talk about my life and my experience, and I do. And thank you for watching my video.